Hello, this is Serrano Keith Baldio with Texas Justice Review. Today we just found out, I just searched the cases that I have going on. And just remember, these are test cases. These are not cases to win. It is just to test the system. Fortunately, you have to go through it to see if the system is corrupted or need to be fixed. So we have this case against my ex's lawyer for fraud, embezzlement, overcharging on cases just to get more money, filing false or malicious motions just to get into court so she can make more money. Her name is Victoria G. Warner from Rowlett, and I posted the case about her, and today I found out that the judge dismissed the case against her with prejudice. And I'm like, okay, what's your reason? So the reason is they said that they filed a vexatious claim against me, that I'm not allowed to sue anybody unless I get a permission from the court. Now, here's what happened. My ex was working with this corrupt attorney called Judge Michael Snipes. He's not a family court judge. Apparently, I pissed him off because he keeps dragging me back into court. And they try to do a vexatious claim on me to block me from suing my ex and her attorney for fraud, because they were hiding $1.2 million. And I pissed off this judge so much that he wanted to put me in jail, threatening me. You're not allowed to tell the jury anything of what I did. Constantly hostile environment in the courtroom. He just went into a brawl with me. And I keep telling him, you just need to follow the law. 50-50, everything that is supposed to be. Didn't care. He's a criminal assignment judge. Got a family court case, doesn't know what the heck he's doing. So I butted heads with him. So he already denied the vexatious claim, right? Because I'm a defendant. Now he brings it back. And on the two cases that he already denied, he brought it back, which is something called what is it called? I want to say Ras Pendez, I think. It's double jeopardy, basically. It's the civil side of double jeopardy. When you rule on something, you cannot go back and rule on it again. And that's basically what he did. So he brought my new attorneys came 6 months after the decree was signed. Little history. The decree was signed on November 20th, 2024. I sued her and her ex on the 19th, the day before, because I saw they were going to try to block me for going after them for fraud. And the judge is helping them. The judge was working with them. He filed an order that I'm not allowed to find the money. I'm barred from searching for the money. Yeah. Helping the other side. So this guy is a real tyrant. Because I really don't want to say the words I want to say. And so November 19th, 2024, I sued them. November 20th, the next day, he did the decree that I'm not allowed to sue her and the attorney. So I already sued them. So it's in the docket filed, and then they did the decree. So 6 months later, I filed criminal charges against and a civil suit against Councilwoman Kathy Stewart. And now my ex's divorce is in the appeals court. Appeals court has the entire case. So they came back 6 months later on April 25th, the very day an appeals court told the district court, take Kathy Stewart to trial. These two attorneys from a very powerful law firm of Carrington and Coleman, 60 lawyers, showed up to go after me. And they apparently had a conversation with my ex. If you let us use the divorce to block him from suing Kathy Stewart should she lose, we will file a motion to sell the house and kick him out. That's how this went down. 6 months after the decree was closed, they did this. And while the case is in the appeals court, they did this. So Judge Michael Snipes, the big tyrant, comes back and decides he's going to use this to get me. Now, judges are not supposed to use cases to get you because they have an ego problem. They're supposed to be fair and partial, and if you can be, get the hell out of the case. He doesn't want to. Because if he removes himself from the case, a new judge is going to say, you can't do this to this guy. He's pro se, you can't take away his rights, and I'm not going to allow this. But I went to the chief judge, and I'm going to do a whole outline on this. The Republican, Ray Wheelers, is in bed with Michael Snipes, hardcore Democrat. So don't think that there's no buddy system going on here. They're buddies. So Ray Wheelers keeps giving him the case instead of sending it to a new judge. And I filed 5 recusals. The reason I did 5 is because every time he did something criminal and illegal, I wanted to keep a record of it. Even though I know Ray Wheelers, the chief judge, was going to support him and back him and deny my motions, I filed it just to say he did something illegal. So here it's and if they say, well, why didn't you file something, Mr. Baldio? I did. 5 times this guy did illegal stuff. So anyway, the new attorneys comes and says, we want him deemed vexatious. Well, here's the thing. I'm a defendant. So the vexatious, I'm going to read out the vexatious lawyers. So the vexatious lawyers, you have to do 5 different lawsuits, and they have to deem that they were frivolous. All 5 have to be frivolous. So what they did is they used my lawsuit against my ex, against her attorney. That's it. That's all they got. Against my ex, against the attorney. I sued them before, and they're trying to bury that case. So they took that case, which is 2. They duplicated in family court, make it 4. And then they used the 2 pending cases, which is not resolved yet. And they said, well, you got 5 suits going on, so we have to deem you vexatious. Now, the law in vexatious says you have to be a plaintiff, not a defendant. I'm a defendant in my ex's lawsuit. So how, first of all, they broke that law. And next thing is, when you have a vexatious claim, you cannot proceed with any other legal claim. It freezes it, yet they were still doing the 2 together. See, I know the law. I know it is applied. So what's all this about? Lying, deceiving, judges doing stuff because he's a senior judge. And he calls up all the district court judges where you have a case and have it dismissed. And I'm going to get to why I think this happened here. So he deemed me vexatious. I'm like, well, what 5 case and what plaintiff have I been in those cases? And by the way, in this court, I'm a defendant. So you don't have jurisdiction to deem me vexatious. But he did it anyway. And the only 2 people that was there is my ex. He used the case against her, and her attorney. They're together. There is 1. And then he added Kathy Stewart, councilwoman. But then in the final thing, they didn't add her because they realized, I'm going to catch this. So anyway, he signed off, I'm vexatious. I got to pay a $10,000 bond illegally until I file another case. So anyway, my ex's attorney tried it with Judge Staci Williams, and she denied it. No, he sued you before that. I can't dismiss that. They go to Judge Emily G.Tobolowsky, and she says, because she's dismissing the case because I had to pay this fee and get approval from the judge. And I don't know if she's reading anything, or the judge, Michael Snipes, calls up the clerk and says, just prepare it and have her sign it without facts, without a hearing, without an opposition, nothing. They just dismissed it from this corrupt lawyer. And so I'm like, no, we're not going to have this. So I'm filing a motion to have it reopened for a new trial. And then if she doesn't do that, I have 90 days to go to the appeals court. Not 30 anymore, 90 once I file this. So they want to play. They want to defend. Because here's the thing. If I find that the lawyer was allowed to break the rules, it means that the judge, Michael Snipes, allowed her to break the rules. So the fraud doesn't just go on her. The fraud extends to him, and he's going to have to pay for that. He's going to have to answer for that. He doesn't want the investigation. He doesn't want the trial. Anywhere my cases go, he's calling up the judges and telling them to throw it, stop it, and end it. And he thinks I'm just going to give up. That's why Texas Justice Review is here. We are using these things as test cases to show what you do, so we can open the door for others to fight the judicial system that is taking away their rights as well. They want to mess with me. Lying, deceiving, and all the facts are there. 19th, I filed it. 20 was the decree. June, the next 6 months later, then you filed a vexation, but you retroactively go back and dismiss my case. That doesn't make sense. But they're doing it anyway because I'm pro se. So was Jesus. But they can take advantage of him because he didn't have an appeals. Well, he could have, but he didn't. I have an appeals court, and I have people watching this. Thanks for watching, and bye for now. Today's April 24th, 2026.